This video is sponsored by Value Testers, best tool company on the web, great pricing and customer service. No one compares. When you need a new tool, think Value Testers. Link in description below. Morning guys, January 20th, 2020. This one here, I got a call for a new heat call, and a good customer of mine. She says the heat on the first floor is running wild and won't shut off. She changed the thermostat and it's still a problem. So I got my big truck in the shop having the brake lines replaced because they're all rotted in the back, and I lost my brakes again. I told them just replace all the brake lines and the fuel lines back there. They're all rotted up in the rail from the salt around here. So it's going to be in the shop for a few days. Hopefully they do it this time. This is the fourth time I lost my brakes. Told them just replace the flipping lines. Replace them all. Never mind just putting a patch on it. Replace them all. They put a little patch on it. Replace a piece that's really leaking. And what about the rest of them? But anyway, that's the deal with that. We'll try to get you some shots when I get there. I know she's got zone valves there. I'm hoping it's just a zone head. Could just run out and get a zone head for her, because I'm working on my pickup truck here with a couple of tools. If it wasn't a good customer, I would have told her to call someone else, but shit happens, mama. Shit happens.
Bring it at 69. It was 62 when I got up this morning.
Okay. So it is off. It is off. All right, can you go up on the second floor and shut the thermostat to off and the one in the basement off, so we're only working with this one.
Okay.
And you're saying that it keeps running wild, right?
Yeah, it keeps blowing and blowing and blowing.
Yeah, it's definitely blowing hot air here, so that one should be off. That one does say off. So let's see if it's calling. We got zone valves here. There's the water heater. This is first. It's not calling. First floor's not calling. Second floor. This one's calling here. That's for the hot water. For a second. None of them are calling here. Go on to this.
Do you have enough room to work in there?
Yeah. Now, did you have this problem after he changed the thermostat or before?
No, that was way before. We changed the thermostat thinking it might help.
Alright, so this is the first floor one. We'll see if these contacts are still making. And after you changed the thermostat, still didn't help.
No. The thermostat that was there was automatic, turns on at 5 o'clock in the morning, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But the battery, it said battery was dead. So I changed the
Well,
batteries.
that seems to be fine. It's not calling. Just fired back up. That's because it's calling for hot water on this one. I'm gonna turn that down. calling for hot water. I'm just going to disconnect this for now.
Even though it was off all night.
Huh?
Even though it was off all night, the furnace.
Yeah.
I still had hot water this morning. One day when I came home, it was 90 degrees down here. Of course, when the sun shines in this house, the temperature goes up anyway, but
Yeah. So everything's off right now, and it shouldn't be running, and it's still running.
there you go.
All the zone valves are off.
Yep.
So right now it is off because it was calling for hot water. Do you find your hot water is extremely hot? No? Or is it
Yeah, it is
hotter
fairly
than
hot.
normal?
No. Well,
No.
I mean, it's like hard to tell.
Because right now your hot water, this thing's not calling. This is labeled first floor.
Yeah.
Is that probably accurate? We got no voltage, so it isn't calling. The only other thing it might be is this might be sticking. This head might be sticking, and when it's calling for hot water, it's running heat also. You know.
You know better than I do on
Yeah.
that. I don't understand what runs that blower in the kitchen. I don't understand where that comes from. But
The blower in the kitchen, when the pipe heats up, the blower kicks on.
yeah. Okay.
So when the zone is calling, oh, it seems fine. It should be off now. Is it off now, or is it still blowing?
Still blowing.
Now, what do you got the thermostat set at on the first floor?
Down here?
Yeah,
I don't have it set because
it's
off.
off.
That's what's so weird. We kept it off just so it wouldn't,
And it shouldn't be getting warm, yeah.
correct.
Second floor was on, though.
Yes.
And this is you got 4 zones here. You got one above the garage and one in the basement.
I got one in the basement. I don't have any in the garage.
Above the garage, there's four thermostats in this house.
There's one in the basement.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another one in the basement on the other side. One of those big things
All right,
that
is
you
that
put
that
in your
one?
garage.
Yeah. So there is. Them are all off, right?
Well, I forgot about that. Let me go be sure that it's off. I think it is, but.
It could be that this valve's bad and leaking by because it's not calling, right?
Yeah, it's off. I never turn that on. Ever.
No.
It's on the side that my husband's tool area was in.
Wait, we got a problem here.
No kidding. That's no surprise.
Yeah, this head's calling right here.
Which head? This head?
Hang on a minute, let me see.
This
if we
one?
got, let's hang on a minute.
Oh.
No, we got no voltage there. So let's see if we got the wire disconnected. We'll see if it's still calling. No, it's not. That's the one for the water heater. So nothing's calling for heat. But yeah, it's running wild. So you just noticed it on the first floor that was really hot.
Yeah, the second floor I noticed to get it up to like 75 or something, I had to put it at 80. But that could be the thermostat. My son's looked at the thermostat and he's got, it was dust in it. You know, it's old.
Alright, so this has cooled down since we shut off the one for the storage tank. So I'm gonna turn the storage tank back on and we're gonna run it. If this gets hot, we got a bad zone valve here, and what's happening is when it's calling for the hot water, it's sending heat to the first floor. That might be what the problem is. That's why it's bypassing. If that's the case, this valve has to be replaced.
What about this one you were saying?
Well, I got it disconnected right now.
Oh, okay.
I got it disconnected right now because it was calling for hot water, right? It's not running now. I mean, nothing's running. Everything's cool, so.
Well, it's interesting.
Second floor you got off too, right? You said you got it off, the thermostat off up there. That
well, it's turned all the way down. It doesn't have an off.
Yeah, none of these are calling right now. And we did check the zone head. So we'll hook that back up.
Yeah.
And if this starts getting warm, we know we got a bad zone head.
Oh, okay.
You know? And it could be that it's leaking by. So we'll reattach this, and this is going to call for hot water. Alright, so this one's calling right now. And this first floor is still cool. Second floor seems a little hot, unless he's got them labeled wrong. I mean, it's possible. I doubt it. Ooh, she's hot, yeah. When you run a little bit of hot water, just so we make sure it's not too hot here.
Okay.
It should be fine, but... Could be this relay sticking too. The sucker is hot. That relay is hot. Wow. That could be the problem right there, that relay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's red hot. Yeah, she's not bypassing. I mean, sometimes you get some dirt stuck in there, you know, and it's not shutting off properly.
Oh.
Just look at the thermostat. Red and white right there. Well, yeah, it's not calling right now, and then we'll turn it up. We'll check it before we go, make sure it's good. Fancy, huh?
Well, and I have another one.
No, that should be fine. Yeah, well, first floor's fine. I mean, it's not, feel it. I mean, it's not getting hot.
Yeah.
It's not getting hot, right? And this is not calling. Second's not calling. That's the basement and the basement. None of them are calling.
Okay.
The only one that's calling is the hot water heater because I got it jumped out. That one's calling, right?
Yeah.
You got the water running still?
No.
Yeah, just keep it running because I do have it jumped out. Just want to make sure it don't get too hot. It's off on high limit. So the zone is working the way it's supposed to work.
A while back.
Alright, so what we'll do is we'll turn that first floor on.
Yeah.
And we'll see how it works. Then we'll shut it down, make sure that it shuts down, right? Let's do that. Alright, so we know that this one's working fine.
The hot water.
The hot water, yeah. Alright, you can shut your hot water off.
Okay.
You can shut your hot water faucet off. Well, I didn't play around with the settings on that, so. Alright. Menu. Mode, heat mode. Cooling. Heat's on. We'll put heat to 72.
Okay.
We'll see what else. So it's going to kick on. We'll make sure it works properly, and then we'll shut it down. Make sure it shuts down.
Does this show how hot the water is?
Yeah.
Oh.
See, it is hot. Going out at 150. I mean, that's pretty hot.
So what should it be?
130. I mean, there is an adjustment here as long as you're happy with the water. I mean, it is hot. They got a temperance valve there.
Yeah.
I don't want to start playing around with any of that stuff because you're used to it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this thing being extra hot isn't.
Well, it's just a sign that it might be an issue, right? I gotta locate the problem first.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So we just turned up the thermostat. It takes a minute and a half for it to call, and then we should fire. It should fire. We'll run it for a little while, and then we'll shut it down and make sure it shuts down, right? And the boiler shuts off. It takes 90 seconds for this to energize. It's starting to energize now.
I don't hear anything, but.
Well, give it a minute.
No, I mean,
Almost smells like something's cooking. No, you smell that?
No. My nose is blocked, so.
Yeah, we got 28 volts there.
Is that a bad sign?
Oh, it might have a bad head and it's not releasing, right?
Would that make a smell?
There it goes. Damp is opening. Damp just is opening and it'll fire the boiler. And now it's calling. It's firing the boiler right there, see it? So between 1 and 3 we should have 24 volts. We do 25 volts. So that did fire.
Yeah.
And it's going to open this valve, then it's going to close the 2 and 3, which fires the boiler. It's like an end switch. And then what we'll do is after we run it a little bit, we'll turn the thermostat down, and we'll make sure that this shuts off. This zone head shuts off. It's all how it works is you got power, your power going to the thermostat, right?
Yeah.
And then when the thermostat calls, it sends power to 1, 24 volts. There's always common to 2, so when the thermostat calls, it energizes this with 24 volts or 28 volts, and then after a minute and a half, 90 seconds, 2 and 3 energize to fire the boiler because
Oh,
These are the two commons that go to the TT to fire the boiler. So that's how all these zones work. Whichever one calls will open, runs the circulator. All these other ones are closed, so there's no heat going to these other zones because they're all off, right?
Unless you had it
Yeah,
on.
you could feel it. Okay, so it's working fine now.
Yeah.
So now it's heating up, and what's going to happen is that kick-base heat is going to warm up the sensor, and the fan's going to kick on. There's only a sensor in there.
Oh, okay.
There's a little sensor that gets warm and kicks on. Unless that's electric.
I don't think so.
It could be. No. It's not. I don't think that's an electric one. It's running now.
And I didn't realize, I've lived here 22 years, that there's a button there, and you can turn the fan off. My son discovered that.
Alright, so we'll turn this down to 68. Heat's on at 68, and then it should shut down in a minute and a half. How hot was it in this area before you changed the thermostat?
Well, if you take a day like today, look at me, and the sun's pouring in here, and the furnace is running. I came home one day, it was 89 in here.
Yeah. So has it still been hot since you changed the thermostat?
Yeah.
After you changed the thermostat?
We just changed it yesterday.
Okay. She just shut off. Oh, see, he just changed it yesterday. So maybe it was a thermostat, because this just shut off. See it?
Yeah.
So that's working the way it's supposed to. So it could have been either the programming on the thermostat went a little wacky, or you had a bad thermostat that was because that controls the heat.
Yeah, well, that's why we figured. That's why we changed it.
Right.
Because we thought the old
So
thermostat was...
you haven't really tried it since you put the new thermostat on.
We
correct?
didn't have it on, yeah.
Right.
Because,
I think that solved the problem because now it's working properly. I mean, I'm not going to try to sell you something for no reason here, you know?
yeah. What about that hot box there?
The what?
Where you said that was...
Well, no, that's all that shit's working fine, I mean.
Oh, okay.
I think the problem was you had a bad thermostat, and then your son changed it yesterday, right?
Yeah.
And in the meantime, you were shutting it off, like I said.
Yeah.
So right now, all the thermostats are satisfied. Nothing's calling. The boiler's off.
All the wires are connected.
Yeah, everything's connected.
Now I'll go upstairs and...
This one here is not calling because it's hot enough. Got satisfied. That's the water heater.
I'm gonna
yeah,
go
but
upstairs
this is
turn this on.
right. Well, that one did work. It did work. It did shut down. You know, if it acts up again, we'll get into it deeper. But I think that it was the thermostat and your
And I don't
son.
need to worry about that getting hot.
No, because everything's working fine at this point. So we'll leave it.
I'm gonna go up and turn the...
Yeah, so we replaced this. We ran all zones. 4 zones okay. Ran first floor zone, working okay at this time. It is working. It's shutting off, and we should be good. Alright guys, I just left that job now. She had, over the weekend, she had a problem with the heat running wild. And she had called me. She called me Sunday. And I told her, you know, that her son changed the thermostat and there's still a problem. So I told her to shut the heat off. And then if she needed the heat, to turn it on until I got there Monday morning. And, it was probably the thermostat, because her son did change the thermostat, but she had it off. So we went through the process of checking all the zone valves, all the zone head on the first floor that she was having an issue with. She wasn't having an issue with anywhere else, so we checked that first floor one. We ran the water heater zone to see if that other zone was bleeding by, and it wasn't. We did turn the thermostat on the first floor on. Turned on the boiler, started heating up. We went and shut it off. It did shut off 100%, shut the boiler off. So it is working now. I told her that it's a possibility that the thermostat wire in the wall is, you know, compromised and it's touching at times and then not touching. I mean, that's possible. I've seen that in the past. But right now it's working fine. We're going to let it ride. And if it starts giving her issues again, she's going to call me back. So right now everything seems to be working. I think that the problem was the thermostat was bad and they had changed that in the interim. And well, that's why you check things. You got to check things. You can't guess. So that's how you check it. What happens is, like I explained before, power from the 24 volts goes to the thermostat. When the thermostat calls, it just sends the power to that number 1 on the zone head. The common on the 24 volts goes to number 2 at all times. And the common goes to the other side of TT on the control that goes to 3. So when thermostat calls, it energizes 1. So you got 24 volts going to 1 and 2, because common's always at 2. After a minute and a half, 2 and 3 is an end switch. So 2 connects and sends the common back to 3, down to 3, so the TT touches. The 2 TT on the control touches, and that runs the boiler. The zone's open, the boiler's running, the circulator's calling, sending heat, heating up the water, sending heat through that loop. When the thermostat gets satisfied, de-energizes the head, which shuts the burner off. And then it shuts that plunger off so that no water can go through it. That's how it works. It's very, very simple. Simple technology. And she's got what, 5 zones there? 4 zones in the house, plus 1 for the storage tank, so that's 5 zones. 5 zone heads with 1 circulator. There you go. There you go, Mama.